people woke up one day confident, certain, and lucky. They believe money comes from bold moves, viral moments, or rare talent. That belief feels comforting because it gives you an excuse. If success is loud and sudden, then your quiet effort today does not matter. But that belief is wrong. Wealth is not built in the spotlight. It is built in silence, not by dramatic decisions, but by small rules followed every day. Rules the wealthy live by but never explain to those still chasing noise. You are often told to follow your passion. You are told to dream big. You are told to visualize the outcome and feel motivated. But look closely at the people who quietly accumulate wealth over decades. They are not chasing excitement. They are not motivated every morning. They are not constantly inspired. They are disciplined. They are patient. They are boring in ways that most people would never tolerate, and that is why most people never join them. Ask yourself a simple question. If success were easy to see, would so many people miss it? If wealth were built by obvious steps, would so few follow them? The truth is uncomfortable. Wealth is built through invisible work that does not reward you immediately. And because there is no instant reward, most people stop. Imagine an underground river. On the surface, land looks dry, cracked, unimpressive. People walk past it every day. They judge it by what they see. But beneath the surface, water is moving, slowly, relentlessly. Over time, it shapes the land above it. One day, without warning, a spring appears. People call it luck. They call it sudden success. But the water was always there, working in silence. Wealth works the same way. The wealthy understand this. They do not explain it because explanation does not create discipline. Only experience does. They know that the work that matters most is the work no one claps for. The research you do when no one is watching, the skill you practice when there is no audience, the restraint you show when spending would feel good but weaken your future. You may think opportunity is something you wait for, something that arrives, something external. But opportunity is not random. It follows a law. Preparation meets opportunity, and the prepared person calls it chance. The unprepared person calls it unfair. Wealthy people do not wait to feel ready. They prepare long before the moment arrives. They build capacity quietly. So when the door opens, even slightly, they can step through without hesitation. Ask yourself where you are preparing, not planning, preparing. Planning is thinking, preparing is building. Planning is safe. Preparing is uncomfortable. When the opportunity comes, it will not wait for you to learn. It will test what you already know. And pressure will reveal patterns you practiced, not promises you made to yourself. Pressure does not create character, it reveals it. When stress arrives, you do not rise to your goals, you fall to your systems. Think about two people facing the same challenge. One has practiced restraint for years, the other has relied on motivation. Under pressure, one acts calmly, the other reacts emotionally. Consider a young professional offered a high-paying role for the first time. One increases spending immediately. Bigger apartment, new car, status purchases. Pressure exposes a pattern of instant gratification. Another keeps expenses stable, saves aggressively, invests the difference. Pressure exposes a pattern of long-term thinking. Both earn the same income, only one builds wealth. Consider a business owner facing a sudden downturn. One panics, cuts learning, avoids hard conversations, blames the market. Another reviews numbers calmly, adjusts strategy, seeks feedback. Pressure exposes discipline. Over time, one exits the game, the other compounds. Wealthy people protect their focus like gold. They understand that attention is more valuable than money. Money can be replaced. Time and focus cannot. They do not allow every notification to interrupt their thinking. They do not confuse movement with progress. They choose depth over noise. Not because it feels good, but because it works. Ask yourself what you are allowing to distract you. not occasionally, daily. You may say you want more, but your habits reveal what you value. Focus is not about intensity, it is about consistency, a little every day protected fiercely. The wealthy do not multitask their way to mastery. They remove distractions until only the essential remains. Growth follows a sequence, whether you respect it or not. First, you learn, then you apply, then you evaluate, then you correct, then you persist. Most people break the sequence. They learn and never apply, or they apply once and never evaluate, or they evaluate emotionally instead of honestly. The wealthy repeat the full cycle again and again and again. Learning without application is entertainment. Application without evaluation is guesswork. Evaluation without correction is denial. Correction without persistence is inconsistency. Wealth is built by those willing to complete the entire loop patiently. Motivation is unreliable, discipline is not. Wealthy people do not wait to feel like doing what matters. They build systems that make the right action the default. They automate good decisions. They reduce friction for discipline. They increase friction for distraction. They do not debate themselves every morning. The decision was already made. Ask yourself how many decisions you force yourself to make every day that could be automated. Every decision drains energy. Systems protect it. Wealth is not built by heroic effort forever. It is built by designing a life where progress happens even on ordinary days. Tire you briefly. You start deploying it where it can work for you quietly, repeatedly, over time. The third rule is about environment. The wealthy design environments that support their goals. They do not rely on willpower alone. They understand that environment shapes behavior more than intention. They structure their days, their spaces, and their inputs to reduce friction for good habits. They keep temptations out of reach. They keep reminders of their priorities close. Ask yourself what your environment is teaching you. Your phone, your room, your schedule, your circle. Are they pushing you forward or pulling you back? You may believe you are strong enough to overcome a weak environment, but strength is limited. Systems are not. The wealthy choose systems. The fourth rule is that they value skills more than status. Titles fade, trends change, skills compound. The wealthy invest in abilities that make them useful in many situations. Communication, analysis, decision-making, learning how to learn. These skills travel with them. They do not depend on a single role or industry. They make themselves adaptable. Most people want certainty. The wealthy prepare for uncertainty. They know the world changes, markets shift, technologies evolve, so they build internal assets that cannot be taken away easily. Skills create confidence, not loud confidence, but quiet readiness. The fifth rule is that they separate emotion from execution. Feelings are information, not instructions. The wealthy feel fear, they feel doubt, they feel uncertainty, but they do not let those feelings decide their actions. They have processes. When emotions rise, they fall back on principles. When things go well, they do not abandon discipline. When things go poorly, they do not abandon consistency. Ask yourself how often your emotions dictate your behavior, how often you delay action because you do not feel ready, or rush action because you feel excited. Emotions change, principles endure. Wealth is built by those who anchor to what lasts. The sixth rule is that they respect the power of small advantages. They do not look for shortcuts. They look for edges, a little more knowledge, a little more patience, a little more efficiency. These edges seem insignificant alone. Together they create distance. Over time, that distance becomes difficult to close. Think of two people walking in the same direction. One takes one extra step every day, just one. After a year, the gap is noticeable. After a decade, it is massive. Wealth compounds like that, quietly, relentlessly, without drama. The seventh rule is that they take responsibility without self-punishment. They own outcomes. They do not waste energy blaming circumstances, but they also do not destroy themselves with guilt. They look at results honestly, extract lessons, and adjust. Responsibility without clarity leads to shame. Responsibility with clarity leads to power. Now understand this. These rules are not secrets. They are not hidden behind closed doors. They are ignored because they are simple, not easy. They require consistency when no one is watching. They require patience when nothing seems to happen. They require faith in process over excitement. Return to the idea of preparation meeting opportunity. Opportunity is unpredictable. Preparation is not. The wealthy invest heavily in what they can control, their habits, their skills, their thinking. When opportunity appears, they are not scrambling. They are ready. Pressure will test this readiness. Under pressure, shortcuts become tempting. Discipline feels heavy. This is where patterns matter. The wealthy have practiced their responses long before pressure arrived, so when it does, they do not negotiate with themselves. They execute. Focus remains central to all of this. In a world designed to fragment attention, focus is a competitive advantage. The wealthy do not consume endlessly. They curate inputs. They choose what enters their mind carefully, because what you consume shapes what you think. What you think shapes what you do. Growth continues through the same sequence over and over. Learn, apply, evaluate, correct, persist. This is not a phase. It is a loop. The wealthy never graduate from it. The moment you believe you are done learning, you start declining. Discipline continues to outperform motivation. Motivation starts things. Discipline finishes them. Systems sustain them. The wealthy design days that work even when energy is low. They reduce reliance on willpower. They increase reliance on structure. Strategic patience becomes easier when you trust the process. Seasons remind you that not all effort pays off immediately. Planting feels unproductive until harvest arrives, but no harvest arrives without planting. The wealthy respect timing. They do not rush outcomes that require maturity. Feedback keeps them grounded. They measure results. They track trends. They notice small changes early. This allows correction before problems grow. Feedback is not judgment, it is guidance. The wealthy listen to it closely. Momentum builds slowly, then suddenly. The flywheel effect rewards consistency. At first, every push feels heavy. Progress feels imaginary, but each push matters. One day the wheel moves on its own, and stopping it becomes harder than continuing. Breakthrough, then, is not a single event. It is the moment you realize you have become someone different, someone who trusts process, someone who values discipline, someone who thinks long-term by default. That identity is the real wealth. If you are listening to this and feeling uncomfortable, that is a good sign. Comfort rarely precedes growth. The rules you resist most may be the ones you need most. You do not need to adopt all of them at once. Start with one. Practice it daily. Let it shape you. Remember, the wealthy did not become wealthy by knowing these rules. They became wealthy by living them quietly, consistently, patiently. You can do the same. Not overnight, not dramatically, but steadily. One day at a time. And one day, without announcement, without noise, without permission from anyone else, you will look up and realize the underground river has surfaced. What looked like luck will be revealed as discipline. What looked like sudden success will be revealed as years of quiet work